Hey guys, so having seen James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and it is releasing to theaters, I've decided to do the DCEU ranked, including The Suicide Squad. I'm going to give you a very brief review. I'm going to give you my star rating, and of course I'm going to go from worst to best. Let's get into it. Let's check out my ranking for the DCEU. But if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy the content, go ahead and hit that notification bell. I've got lots more DC stuff coming your way.
Hey, Tessa from MamasGeeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel.
So very bottom at the list is going to be, Suicide Squad. Not The Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad. I gave this thing a half a star out of 5, and I feel like that's being generous. I went into this movie so excited. I should say, when they first announced this movie, I was so excited. I was unable to see it opening night. I had to see it on that Friday night, and by that time it was already being trashed. I went in going, I don't care. I'm going to have a good time. I'm so excited for these characters, and I'm so excited for the concept of the Suicide Squad, and I almost left partway through. And then even later, I watched it a second time. Like, was I wrong? Was I just in a wrong headspace? And I was like, no, this is really not good. Unfortunately, so many characters are underused, and I get the idea of Suicide Squad, but you have to care about the characters at least a little bit before they die, and I don't think that a good job was done in this. I think the cutting was all weird. The editing, I guess, is the right word. And Enchantress was just, I don't know what she was doing, but it didn't look right. It didn't work. Probably largely in part because David Ayer was pulled off the project, didn't finish it. That's probably the reason. I would love to see his cut. I certainly can't imagine that it's this awful. So Suicide Squad ranks at the bottom at half a star out of 5. Next is Justice League, or Justice League, however you would like to call it. I'm a little more generous with this one, giving it 2 stars out of 5, and that's only because of some saving moments that are in there. But again, not doing a good job of making you care about all the characters before just throwing them in there. I really think that each character maybe should have gotten a solo film and then all come together, kind of like Marvel does with the Avengers. Not everyone had a solo film, but we got to know a lot of the people before we're just like, oh, okay. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest, when it comes to the comic books, Batman's more my guy. I'm more into Batman and Gotham and the dark and the gritty, besides the Justice League. That's just me. I feel like the Flash was super underused in this, unfortunately. And you could tell that it was not Zack Snyder's vision, which I will get to later. So, Justice League, the Justice League, however you would like to call it, sits at 2 stars out of 5, right above Suicide Squad. Now we get into Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. The theatrical cut, I give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's okay. It's not very rewatchable because I feel like there's a lot missing. I mean, there's some decent action. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is good. I think I am very spoiled with Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. I felt he was a very cold, calculated. He's my favorite Lex Luthor from Smallville. So I think it was big shoes to fill, and I think this version of Lex just came off more like Joker, more like too crazy, which honestly I probably would have loved if I didn't have Michael Rosenbaum's character to compare it to. So I got to give it a little credit for that, but it was kind of all over the place. And so then we go to the extended cut of Batman versus Superman, which is better. I don't know that it's much better, but it's better. I put it at 3 stars out of 5, so we're getting there, right? We're getting better. We're getting to this place where we want to be with the DCEU, and more rewatchable than the theatrical release. Fixed some things, still not perfect, still has a ways to go, and what still bothers me a little bit, honestly, is Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, which I really, truly think I would love if I wasn't comparing it to Smallville's Lex Luthor. It's just really hard for me not to do that because that is what made me love that character. I was never really a big fan of Lex from the comic books, but from Smallville, fell in love with him as a villain. And I think that just kind of, I mean, I'm being honest, I'm a little biased when it comes to that. It's just something I can't get out of my head in comparing those two when I watch that. Next up for me is Aquaman. Now, I will say I went into this movie very hesitant. Not one of my favorite characters from the comic books. If you've been around, you know that. Same with Namor on the Marvel side. Just not a fan of like the water, like my power is talking to fish. I don't know. I always had this like preconceived notion of they're lame and I don't care. I'm not gonna lie, that's completely being honest. Now, Aquaman I did see in theaters and I was like, all right, it's much better than I expected it to be. And upon a rewatch, actually 2 rewatches, which shows a lot, it's getting better and better for me. Yes, there's still issues. Some CGI stuff isn't great. The story does drag on a little bit. There's some moments that I'm just like, really, are they going there? Some moments look really silly. But overall, like the story, I think it's a solid base. I think, again, we're getting somewhere. And I'm actually getting very excited for Aquaman 2. And if you know me, again, when I talk about my feelings towards the Aquaman, Namor people in the comics, it's getting me more excited for Aquaman 2. Like, I will say I'm actually excited for that movie. I'm actually really looking forward to it. So I give Aquaman, it's a 3 out of 5, but it's definitely higher than the extended version of Batman versus Superman. Now, next we get to Wonder Woman 84, and I know. Listen, I think the reason this is so high for me is Pedro Pascal. There's definitely some issues with this movie. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of them. Diana basically feels a little bit like a sidelined character. Cheetah looks awful. I don't know what they were doing there. But Pedro just completely captivated me with his persona. And I've seen the movie a few times. It holds up, but it definitely, where Aquaman gets better, Wonder Woman 84 tends to get worse for me. I don't love the opening. I don't know what the point of it was. And there's definitely some moments that I watch and I'm like, ugh, and I'll skip through them, which is never a good sign. Aquaman, I'm not doing that. But in the current moment, Wonder Woman 1984 is still sitting at a 3.5 out of 5 for me. And it's largely in part due to Pedro Pascal completely stealing the show and proving just what a versatile actor that he is. I really liked that. Next up, we have Man of Steel, which I give a 4 out of 5. I love this story. Not a major Superman fan. It just never really was. Smallville, definitely. Comic books, I just never really could get into him. He was never one of my favorites. Again, I'm always a Batman girl, right? I'm in the dark and the gritty. And the more I learn about Superman, though, the more I enjoy him. And Man of Steel, I really enjoyed for many reasons. I love the story. I love the ending. Just in case some of you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot that I really loved about this, probably because I enjoy the dark and the gritty. So this is actually, where one of my favorite DCEU films, as you can tell, we're on the higher side of the rankings now, but I give Man of Steel a 4 out of 5. Next up is Birds of Prey. Another 4 out of 5. Those two are very close, but I put Birds of Prey a little bit higher because I just love me some Harley. I think she's really decent in this. I like a lot of the action. The rollerblading scenes are just fantastic. I mean, come on. When you literally get in a fight on rollerblades, like, how can you not? Plus that egg sandwich. Like, I came out of this going, I need an egg sandwich really badly. Like, I want an egg sandwich so bad. Do I think this movie could have been better? Yes. Do I think there was more potential for it? Absolutely. But did I really enjoy it? Yeah. I kind of did. I loved seeing Harley. I don't want to say be on her own because there's a lot of characters surrounding her, but to have broken free of Joker, I enjoy that side of her. I'm hoping they're setting up for her and Ivy in the future. Fingers crossed. Please, 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 please. I need that in live action, but is what it is. Birds of Prey sits at 4 out of 5. Next is Wonder Woman. Okay, and I went back and forth on this one. Is it a 4.5 or is it a 4? Is it a 4.5 or is it a 4? I stuck it at a 4, but it is one that I will rewatch. I've watched it several times. I do really, really enjoy it. I think it's one of the best DCEU movies. Obviously, it's towards the top. I love the cinematography in this. I love the story. I love getting to know Wonder Woman. And then when you compare it to Wonder Woman 1984, it's just infinitely better, which is making me rethink my 3.5 for 84. That really is, though. It's got nothing to do with Wonder Woman's story. It's very much Pedro's that rises that one up to where it is. But this one, I really enjoyed it. I loved Gal. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great amount of action, a good mix between, like, the Amazonian and then the, like, modern. It was just a really well done movie. And I really, really enjoyed it. And, of course, it's a kickstart to Wonder Woman. You know, and I really thought it was great. I just loved it. I really did. I really enjoyed it. But it's, again, not without its issues. The third act is not great. CGI, not so good, especially towards the end. Is what it is. It gets a 4 out of 5. Now, Zack Snyder's Justice League, infinitely, I mean, a million times better than the Justice League, so to speak. I mean, you could tell every character was fleshed out. This was what I wanted in the first one. I wanted to know all of the characters and be like, oh, I care about this character. So Zack Snyder's Justice League gets a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's amazing. I think it's beautiful to watch. I just loved it. I really enjoyed it. I had the time of my life. Yes, it's very long, which is where it loses its half a star. It is definitely long. It's hard to watch. I watched it in one sitting, and I've since watched it a few more times, just not in one sitting. And do I think it could have been a little shorter and still accomplished what he wanted? We probably could have gotten 3.5 hours and really accomplished it. However, I'm appreciative of everything that we did get. I think every scene is important in setting it all up, which is what I really love. I love the differences. I love the different looks of the characters, certain characters. And listen, I enjoyed it a lot. So, of course, that one sits there at 4.5 out of 5. Above Zack Snyder's Justice League, for me, is Shazam. Now, this one sits at 4.5 out of 5 stars, too. And I went back and forth on which one I prefer better. I think Shazam is just more easily rewatchable. It's one I've watched with my children a few times. It's funny, it's entertaining, and it's got Adam Brody. Now, I'm a girl who loved the OC, especially Seth, because he was a nerd like me. And so that's maybe maybe I'm a little biased to that, but I think Zachary Levi was great. I think the story was great. I'm really looking forward to Shazam 2 and Black Adam. I think this, I just had fun with it, okay? It was funny, it was entertaining, it was more of a comedy than more serious, yes, but there was some really good stuff in there, some really great action scenes. Loved some of the stuff toward the end. Again, I don't want to give spoilers if people haven't seen it, but I really, really enjoyed it. And again, I went back and forth on that placement, right? Which one would be number 2 and which one would be number 3. Shazam won out just because it's more rewatchable to me, probably largely in part due to the length. But again, both films are phenomenal. And then we get to the number 1 DCEU ranked movie. I mean, I'm sure you guys can figure it out by now. It comes in at 5 out of 5. I literally cannot think of one negative thing to say about it, and that is James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, this is the newest one, so I really don't want to give any spoilers, but what I will say is that James Gunn does a fantastic job of making you care about literally every single character, no matter how long they are on screen for, no matter how long we have them around. He makes you care about everyone. He's so good at combining blood and gore and heart and emotion and comedy. You're like, people are dying. I'm laughing, having a good time, thinking, whoa, this bloody shot would look amazing hanging on my wall. Like, what is wrong with me? How does he do that? I don't know, but he makes it work. The soundtrack is incredible, of course, in true James Gunn fashion. The soundtrack is basically its own character, and it helps to propel the story forward. There is not one downtime moment. It is banana pants from beginning to end, adrenaline. Your heart is pumping. You're in it. Everyone is amazing. This is the best portrayal of Harley Quinn that we have seen yet. I already knew Margot Robbie was born to play Harley, but wow, she is born to play Harley with James Gunn's direction and writing. Oh, the possibilities are endless. She's amazing. Ratcatcher 2. I somehow care about rats. I don't like rats. Rats are gross. Now I care about rats. Like, what is happening? And so many other people have incredible emotional arcs. I love every single character. I mean, Savant, Weasel, Peacemaker. I'm so excited for Peacemaker's show. I mean, I can just go on and on. Rick Flag. Polka Dot Man. I love Polka Dot Man in this. I mean, his delivery, he's so fantastic. Bloodsport is amazing, especially Bloodsport and Peacemaker together. I'm rambling. I don't want to give any spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I will say this is a perfect movie. It is a masterpiece. There is not one thing wrong with it. The second it ended, couldn't wait to see it again. I'm sitting here dying to see it again. No pun intended. The Suicide Squad, absolutely perfect. Sits at the top. 5 out of 5. So let me run down, again, real quick for you, my DCEU ranking. We start with Suicide Squad, Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, the theatrical version, Batman vs. Superman, extended cut, Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1984, Man of Steel, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Shazam, and the Suicide Squad. I'll update this for you guys when the next movie comes out, but this is my ranking for now. You guys let me know your ranking down below in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. You can follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at MamasGeeky over there. MamasGeeky. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.